Okay, so obviously by the title of this video, you know it's very serious. I survived cancer. I had Hodgkin's lymphoma, stage 2A, I believe it was called, and it was a very crazy process, crazy and emotional process. But I thought that I would share this with you guys because it was a huge part of my life, and if it could help anybody else in their situation, it would please me. It's story time, and we're gonna do a story, and it's gonna be pointless. Hey, hey! I did write in my phone, here's my phone, I have my phone on me. I did write in my phone the order of the events so that I didn't forget something and forget to tell you some important detail or whatever. So there are like the events of the process in the chronological order. So I'm just gonna go through and talk to you about my experience. So when I found out, I was actually starting a new job at the Milwaukee Ballet in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It was about, I don't think it was that far into it. I think it was like a few days into the contract. Prior to finding out, I had a lump on the back of my neck, and I had gotten a full scholarship to go to a 6-week summer intensive at Milwaukee Ballet, and in the summer intensive was a week-long audition process for the second company. So I was going to go and audition for that. So before I went to the program, I had a lump on my neck, and I was like, I need to get this lump removed because if I get this job, I'm going to be taking pictures, I'm going to be doing interviews, I'm going to be doing all this stuff, and I don't want a lump on the back of my neck. You know, who wants that? So the doctor was like, okay, since it's a cyst, we were just going to remove it in the doctor's office. So we removed it in the doctor's office, and then I left for this 6-week long program. So I went to this intensive, did the intensive, got into the second company, which is basically the training to be in their first company. So I got into the second company, and I came back, and I was supposed to do a follow-up, and they didn't have the results in. And my mom and I looked at each other like, oh my gosh, what's happening? Like, I didn't realize that it was gonna take this long. So I was like, well, I leave in a few days, so I guess I will get the results over the phone. So I leave for the contract. A few days into the rehearsal process, I get a text from my mom and says, can you give me a call when you have a chance? And I was like, okay, yeah, whatever. So then I was on my way out of the building with one of my friends, and I got a phone call from my mom. And she was like, your results came back. And I was like, okay, so am I fine? Am I good? And she was like, well, they found a cell in the lymph node. And I was like, okay, well, what is this cell? And she kept talking around, like using the word cell. They found this cell inside your cyst. She said, it's cancer. And I was like, and I was like, well, can I do the treatment here? And that was the first thing. Me, I'm a workaholic. I like to work, I like working, I like getting my job done, performing. I've never done anything other than performing in my entire life. I finally get another job, you know, a place that I absolutely fell in love with. I ended up finding out that I had cancer, and then I was like, well, can I do the treatment here? And she said, well, the doctor thinks that the doctor said yes. And then I was like, cool. So then I went home, went to bed, woke up the next day, went to rehearsal, came back, and then I get a phone call again from my mom saying that the doctor was being ambitious because all of my doctors knew what I did and were super supportive. He said that he was being very ambitious in thinking that I would be able to get the treatment done while working, but he said that it would probably be better if I came home. So then I had a meltdown. I did not want to go home. I wanted to stay in Milwaukee doing this thing, you know, so I ended up getting on a plane to come home. I came home and they were like, okay, we need to do a few more tests to figure out, you know, if it's anywhere else and all this stuff, and I was like, okay, cool. Thinking that it was going to be like a few days, I was going to do a test, get the result, and then go into treatment. Meanwhile, Orlando Ballet was gracious enough to actually bring me into their school on a full scholarship so that I could still dance and perform and train while I was undergoing treatment, which was really nice of them. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna schedule all of my treatment before rehearsals and stuff, and then I'm gonna go to class and then rehearsal and do all this stuff, and I actually scheduled it that way, which later I found out was dumb. But I came home to do this testing thinking that it was gonna be a few days. So I get in the testing and I get a test, and then, oh no, they found it in 4 more spots. I get another test, oh just kidding, it's in 1 spot. Get another test, see how severe it is. Then I had to get surgery, then I had to do this, then I had to do that. We finished all the testing, and this was probably 3 or 4 weeks of just testing, trying to figure out what it is and what treatment we need to go by. We found out that it was Hodgkin's lymphoma stage 2A. We're walking out the doctor's office after officially finding out what it is. Then all of a sudden the doctor comes running down the hallway. Wait, I just found something out. He said that it's the type of cancer that I have was so rare because I had the lymph node in my neck swollen with cancer in it for 7 years before they found it. So basically what ended up happening was I went into treatment and didn't have to do chemo because it was so rare. I didn't need to go through chemo. All I had to do was radiation. So they removed all the lymph nodes there were only 2. There was 1 in my neck and 1 underneath my armpit. So we started the process. It's kind of a crazy process, not only because I was going through cancer treatment and having to put radiation in my body, but my brother was also working on a cruise ship. When you work on a cruise ship, you don't have a lot of communication. He had to pay for internet when he needed it. He couldn't call anyone because there are no cell towers out in the ocean, and he didn't want to get overcharged for roaming charges. So he wasn't able to contact us, and the only time that he could contact us was when he was ported in the US. Thankfully, he had a friend who had, I can't remember if it was a relative or a boyfriend or something like that, who actually was going through it as well, and survived it as well. And so she was helping him through this process. We found out that the radiation was a thing, and we only did treatment for 4 months. Because I said, hey, I have to get back to my career. Again, my doctors knew what we did and understood that being a ballet dancer is like being an Olympic athlete. I only had to do 4 months of treatment, but I was like, I need to get back to my career. So what they did was they crunched 2 years worth of treatment into 4 months. I honestly think a part of the reason that I survived is because I had my career and I stayed focused on my career, and I had a loving family and loving friends. It was just amazing to have that support system while I was dancing and going through treatment. I would schedule my treatment for 8 a.m. so that I could be at the studio 7 a.m. so that I could be at the studio at 9 so that I could start rehearsals and classes at 10. The treatment consisted of, when I first started, they had to make a mold of my entire upper body because my lymph nodes were here and here. So I had to get a mold from here above my head, and what it was this plastic thing that they put in warm water, and then I laid down and they put it over my head, and it was like this mesh thing, and it molded to my face, and then they bolted it to the table. It sounds scary, it's not scary, it's plastic. The whole thing was plastic. If something went wrong, I could break out of it. It wasn't like they were torturing me. But they bolted me to the table with these plastic things that were in the side of the mold, and so that I wouldn't move during the treatment. I did that, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is kind of cool, this is kind of fun. And then I went into the room where we actually did the radiation, and there were these lasers pointing. Now, I don't remember what the lasers did, but I just remember thinking, I'm in a James Bond movie. It was a period of time where I did get really fatigued, and it was hard. It was hard to eat things, eat certain things, because it didn't, my body didn't react well to it. So one of the major things that happened, you get fatigued and skinny, and it was hard to eat sometimes. One of the major things that I specifically remember, because a lot of the stuff I don't remember because it was such a haze, because everything was happening so fast at that point. Everything was just passing by me. When I had the surgery, I was out for a week. So that should tell you how long it took before we actually started the treatment. And then, you know, there was a period of time where I was getting so fatigued and so tired, my bones were hurting so badly that I would wake up in the morning and not be able to move. But I was so determined to get through this and get to my career and get back to what I was doing. We were in the middle of Nutcracker. We were in rehearsals and we had gone through the entire rehearsal process. We were at the theater. We were doing the cue to cue, which is when we do all the lights and the set pieces and the special effects and stuff. We put it all together. It was a run through. I did the run. I came off stage and I collapsed. I was in this huge suit. I had a mask on. I had a kind of like a furry onesie thing with a unitard underneath, ballet shoes, and gloves and all this stuff. So for a while nobody really noticed that I was over there, but they ripped it off, took my costume off, unzipped me, got me, I was in nothing but a dance belt. They called my mom came and picked me up, took me home, and I was in bed for the next week, I think. That was rough for me because, again, I'm a workaholic. I love my work. I love working. And to be bedridden for that long is just heartbreaking. That happened, and then around, it was like the end of December, when I found out that I was officially cancer-free. I was in remission, but I was cancer-free, so my mom decided to take me on the cruise that my brother was working on. Now, I would wake up, go see my brother, do his thing, and then pass out. I didn't do anything but eat, sleep, and watch my brother. That entire cruise, and I don't remember much at all about it. You know, there was a time where apparently we were out on the beach, and I wasn't supposed to be in the sun after treatment, so my family covered me head to toe in towels so that the sun wouldn't burn my skin. I do remember waking up early though, so that I could give myself like a little ballet bar out on the deck on our balcony. After that, I went through the same amount of pain that I was going through treatment, carried on after the treatment. Throughout the rest of my ballet career, I was in constant pain. I had to wake up 2 hours before I had to be at the studio because I was in so much pain. I would wake up and be in pain, and I'd have to roll out my ankles and do like exercises and stuff to actually get my body up and moving, because if I didn't do that, I would not be able to get through the entire day. And I still wasn't able to get through the entire day. Like maybe 2 hours past lunch, and then I wouldn't be able to do much after that. My entire body would shut down, and my muscles would freak out. It would shut down to the point where my body was shaking. My joints would stop working. So when I switched to musical theater, my body wasn't hurting as much. I retired from ballet completely. I finished off at Ballet Pensacola in Pensacola, Florida. And I finished there, and then I moved on into musical theater officially, completely retired from ballet. My body doesn't hurt like it used to. Everything has completely cleared up. It's great. I'm living a happy life, and I'm still able to perform and dance and do what I love, and I try to use my ballet technique as much as I can wherever I can. A lot of musicals nowadays are very hip-hop based, very jazz hip-hop based. So I am doing a lot of that. I try to use it as much as I can and show it off as much as I can in what I do. All of this is to just say thank you. You know, I wanted to share this with you guys because I know that this is going to be helpful for somebody in the future. But I also did this because I want to say thank you. Thank you to my family. Thank you to my close friends. And you guys who support me and all the stuff that I do. Well, on Instagram, the photography, you know, my silliness on Twitter and Snapchat, and, you know, just thank you everyone for being there, for supporting me, being such a constant in my life. Without my family, my friends, and my followers, I don't know what I would do. I don't know where I would be. You know, I honestly don't think that I would have been able to get through this process, you know. So I just want to say thank you for everything, and I hope this helped. If it did, please let me know. Comment down below, give me a thumbs up, subscribe. Everyone subscribe. I do some crazy stuff on this channel, so you need to subscribe. Follow me on all the social medias to see what I'm up. Thank you so much. I love you all, and